No? So thank you so much for joining us. My name is Maria Mbo. And coming up in the news this morning, proving the naysayers wrong, President Ruto says that he's committed to actually deliver on his pledge to, construct the 750-kilometer road, from Isiolo to Mandera. And also the UN, beg your pardon, University Academic Staff Union chapter issues a strike notice. All that will be coming up in the news this morning. But let's begin with that, pledge by the president, where he said that his pledge to construct the 750-kilometer Isiolo-Mandera road will be fulfilled. The president said the route is part of his administration's agenda to ensure equal distribution of national resources. Giverson Maina opens the bulletin this morning.
Hii barabara kutoka hapa mpaka ifike pale Modogashe itakamilika ikifika mwaka ujao.
Days after President William Ruto concluded his walking tour in northeastern region and promised a raft of development projects such as the construction of several roads in the region.
Mr. Manasseh More,
the president Wednesday took issue with naysayers, saying the promise to construct the 750-kilometer Isiolo-Mandera road was not a joke.
Last week or the week before, I was in northern Kenya, and I did announce a major road artery that will be constructed from Isiolo through Wajir all the way to Mandera. And many people assume or think it is a joke.
The president noting that the road was a key part of his administration's agenda to ensure equal development across all regions.
Let me tell you, good people, in this country sometimes we take matters of life and death as if it is a joke. I am committed to delivering on that 750-kilometer of road from Isiolo to Mandera, because for a very long time we have left northern Kenya behind.
President Ruto noting that 11 contractors were already on site.
We did develop a transport corridor that connected Mombasa to Malaba, and that is why our development has concentrated on that transport corridor. It is time that we have a second transport corridor that goes all the way to Mandera.
Speaking at the same event, ODM lawmakers have vowed to back Ruto's 2027 re-election bid for backing Raila Odinga's African Union Commission bid and launching billions worth of development projects in marginalized areas that they said have been left out for years.
Kama mwenyekiti ODM Nairobi, 2027 tuko nyuma yako. Na nawakumbusha wale ODM wanaongea huko kando, waongee tu, lakini sisi ODM original, Rais ni William Samoei Ruto.
Mimi mambo ya 2027 watatupanga na baba wakisema tutafuata. Watatupanga na wale watu wanasema AU sijui nini, wakitupanga na baba 2027 hiyo tutafuata.
The University Staff Union UN chapter has issued a one-week strike notice over alleged abuse of office and mismanagement by the university's chancellor, that is Professor Patrick Vercogen, and the council chairman, Professor Amukoyiwa Anangwe, while calling for the removal from office of the council chairman. OASU, led by UN chapter chair, that is Dr. Richard Bosire, called for the revocation of the 24-month transformational strategy, which they say intends to pave way for the sale of university assets, which could see the collapse of the university. Nancy Okwari reports.
All is not well at the University of Nairobi, with an ending leadership crisis fueling the current storm. University Academic Staff Union UON chapter have accused the University Chancellor Patrick Vercogen and the Council Chairman Professor Amukoyiwa Anangwe of conspiring to mismanage the university.
The university also has reneged on the total implementation of the CBA, National CBA 2021-2025. The reason we do not understand, we have talked to them, we have written to them, there is no response. But what you get is that the council is thinking about it. Yet the council does not have any responsibility in negotiation of CBS, implementation of CBS.
Members of staff are required to give their input for the smooth running of the institution. Individuals are making decisions and superimposing them on the members of academic staff. This is infringing on their rights.
While issuing a 7-day strike notice, the Dons called for the vacation of the 24-month transformational strategy developed by the Chancellor and adopted by the Council in isolation of staff.
This is a document that is going to prepare University of Nairobi for an auction. That is why this document wants to form things called special purpose vehicles. These vehicles are supposed to evaluate university assets. This document illegally wants to tinker around with the composition of the council so that it includes legal and management experts. That document, again, burdens the university by suggesting that the council should have bi-monthly meetings. The cost of hosting council in one session is close to $500,000.
According to UASU, the university already has a known 5-year strategic plan approved by both Treasury and Ministry of Education, which was launched after public participation by staff and other key stakeholders. UASU has also called for the ouster of the University Council Chairman, Professor Amukoa Anangwe. They also want the ouster of Brian Ouma, who they allege occupies a non-existent office of Chief Operations Officer.
The Public Service Commission has never created such a position. Nowhere in the universities, public universities in Nairobi, in Kenya, exists such a position. There's nowhere that position exists in our statutes.
According to UASU, the alleged mismanagement of university affairs has demoralized staff and is threatening to cripple university operations.
Thank you, Nancy Okware. Now, the National Assembly and Kenya Kwanza leaders in Parliament have filed twin appeals at the Court of Appeal challenging the High Court's judgment that quashed Speaker Moses Wetangula's 2022 decision to designate Kenya Kwanza as the majority party. In the appeals, the National Assembly lawyers, together with members of Parliament Kimani Ichung'wah, Owen Baya, Silvana Susoro and Naomi Jilo Wako, want the court to suspend execution of the judgment pending hearing and determination of the case. The application will be heard on Wednesday, the 26th February 2025, by a 3-judge bench that will be constituted by the President of the Court of Appeal.
Members of the National Assembly now want the Equalization Fund management streamlined and the expiration term of the fund extended past 2030.
The systems, and you understand, created some sort of jurisdictional conflict between the members of parliament and the governors. So the period, the 20-year period is coming to an end, and yet there is nothing to demonstrate. There is nothing to demonstrate on the ground. I represent one of the constituencies that ought to have benefited from this. There is nothing to demonstrate.
According to MPs, corruption within county administrations has significantly impeded the effective utilization of the Equalization Fund. The members also want the criteria on what counties benefit from the fund amended to minimize wastage.
You will find, Mr. Speaker, that the county government has done a road somewhere. And they will allocate a similar amount of money on the same road.
Manake kama hiyo pesa iliyotumika kwetu ingekuwa imetumika vizuri zaidi, tungekuwa tuko mbele, na sasa tunatumia hii nyingine kusonga mbele zaidi. Kwa mfano watu wa Mangai waliwekewa pesa, wako Boni Forest waliwekewa milioni 45 ya maji, ambao huo mradi ingekuwa umeinua hiyo area. Paka sasa kutoka uhuru patikane hiyo area hakuna hata mradi mmoja wa serikali.
The Equalization Fund Administration Bill 2023 proposes that the fund remains in force for a further non-renewable term of 10 years from the date upon which the fund would have lapsed in 2030.
Na hii ni kwa sababu bado tunaona zile sehemu ambazo zilitengwa ama zilidhulumika bado hawajafikia ile shabaha katika mambo ya maji, mambo ya barabara, mambo ya umeme na hata mambo ya kielimu.
Some counties, because there are only pockets where we have marginalization, Mr. Speaker, they get such a low figures in terms of budgeting. And the question is, If you get such a low budget, is it worth it really? You make the implementation so expensive because the figures are so low.
If the national government want to achieve impactful projects through this fund, they can direct it to have a hospital in Moyale, a power station in Mandera, so that this money is not just pilfered away.
But this equalization fund, Honorable Speaker, it should be looked into critically by the beneficiaries so that, Honorable Speaker, we are able to set and prioritize 1 or 2 major projects that we see, Honorable Speaker, that if we were to allocate money for this project this time around, then we would not have to talk about this problem again in the next coming few days.
Beneficiaries of the fund are Turkana, Lamu, Mandera, Wajir, Marsabit, Samburu, West Pokot, Tana River, Narok, Kwale, Garissa, Kilifi, Taita Taveta, and Isiolo. Meanwhile, senators have taken a swipe at individuals and leaders who rejoiced after Kenyan AUC candidate failed to capture the seat.
Broke my heart, for example, Mr. Speaker, to see certain people celebrating, including leaders. I must add that, unfortunately, some of them sit in this house, Mr. Speaker, posting messages and saying, oh, I'm glad so-and-so lost. Really? In the 21st century? That was a new law for me, Mr. Speaker. Prime Minister Raila Odinga, you don't have to agree with him politically, but he has earned his space. He has made his mark.
Indeed unfortunate that some few people, for their own selfish reason, chose to celebrate the failure of one Raila Amolo Odinga because they believe that their political future lies in Baba joining hands with them. I want to tell them, oh, unto them, Mr. Speaker.
I beg your pardon. Juja, Member of Parliament George Koimburi has been charged with 6 counts of forging academic certificates, appearing before Kiambu Law Court Senior Principal Magistrate Madam Ku Mwakwambira. The legislator pleaded not guilty to the 6 offences levelled against him. However, the court was treated to drama after his defence counsel objected to the 7th count, contempt of court, as drafted by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. The court was informed that contempt of court is not an abuse of the court process since it is not known in law. The trial magistrate has released Koimburi on a free bond awaiting a ruling on whether he will plead guilty to the last charge on Thursday.
Between September 2011 and April 2012, at an unknown time and place within the Republic of Kenya with the intent to deceive, forged a Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology certificate of participation in the East Africa Universities Accession Project serial number JKU/Kenneth/E1/2011 to 2012/C6, purporting it to be a genuine and duly signed certificate issued by the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. True or not true? You have a that count, that is forgery.
We are bringing a new charge sheet with a new charge, a new count on a matter that is already before the court. This file has not been available to the court.
Counsel is misleading you, my Honor. Counsel is misleading you. There is nothing before this court. No, I will not allow him to mislead the court.
The section does not provide the question of failure to attend. It provides for disrespect of judicial proceedings and judicial officers. Being supposed to bring new fresh charges, or is an old matter revived? That's a question of law, Your Honor. I wish you to determine.
We'll deal further with the issue of bail or bond, being as it were that is a state officer, and the court believes that he will attend court for ruling and further orders tomorrow.
The Kenya National Cohesion and Integration Commission, in conjunction with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, are set to host a series of town halls across the 47 counties aimed at promoting peaceful coexistence among Kenyans. Speaking during a signing ceremony of a Memorandum of Understanding, the Commission's Chief Executive Officer, that is Harrison Kariuki, underscored KBC's vital role in its quest to reach as many Kenyans as possible through its transgenerational conversation. Meanwhile, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation Managing Director Agnes Kaleche reaffirmed the corporation's commitment to fostering national unity and social cohesion.
After months of extensive deliberations, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCC, and Kenya Broadcasting Corporation have reached a deal aimed at promoting peaceful coexistence amongst Kenyans. A memorandum of understanding signed on Wednesday by KBC Managing Director Agnes Kaleche and NCC Acting Chief Executive Officer Harrison Kariuki will see the two entities partner in hosting town halls for the next 2 years across the 47 counties.
Last year, during the Gen Z protest, NCAC came up with the transgenerational conversations, a broadcasting partner, so that we're able to reach the farthest parts of this country. And just to mention, we started and launched this in Pokot, and we have plans to do in all the counties, the 47 counties in the country.
As Kenya Premium Public Broadcaster, KBC is honored as the exclusive media partner for NCIC Transgenerational Conversation Town Hall Session, a visionary initiative to bridge generational divide and empower Kenyans through dialogue.
Speaking during the MOU signing ceremony at KBC offices, Managing Director Agnes Kaleche urged Kenyans to brace themselves up to participate in the town halls, while confirming that they will be transmitted across all KBC broadcasting and online platforms.
I think to our audiences, your voices matter. We invite you to actively participate in these town hall sessions. Share your stories and engage with our programming. Together we can shape a Kenya where every generation contribute to peace, accountability, and shared prosperity.
On his part, NCAC Acting Chief Executive Officer Harrison Kariuki expressed the Commission's commitment to promoting transgenerational conversations which will rid the nation of divisions as witnessed during the last year's Gen Z protests.
As we prepare for the new finance bill, we do not want what happened last year. We want to be ready so that we can discuss, we can meet, we can engage, and we'll be using the resources now that you are availing to us, the broadcasting, the people, the media, the instruments, everything, and this will help NCAC to meet its mandate.
The President of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Philemon Young, has arrived in Kenya for a 3-day visit. The Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Musalia Mudavadi, said Young's visit, which runs from February 18th to the 22nd, aims to strengthen cooperation between Kenya and the United Nations with a focus on multilateral diplomacy and global priorities. During his stay, he is expected to hold high-level meetings with President William Ruto, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, and other senior government officials to discuss cooperation in areas such as peace and security, sustainable development, digitalization, as well as strengthening international cooperation. In addition to diplomatic engagements, the General Assembly President will deliver a public lecture at the Strathmore University and hold a meeting with members of the UN community, interact with stakeholders from academic policy, innovation, and private sectors.
A very, very critical hub for the United Nations, and the previous speakers have really elaborated on this. Over and above that, as we look at the issues of privileges and immunities, Your Excellency, we also want to propel Kenya to become the preferred UN retirement home, because we have a lot of top diplomats, 3,000, and we want to be able to make sure that they can find Nairobi their preferred home.
I see many things happening. On the side of Kenya, the efforts are tremendous. On the side of the United Nations, the efforts are tremendous. And there's something invisible which I find great here. The attitude is the proper attitude on both sides. The efforts are great, attitude proper. In the future, I can only see great things and miracles.
A look at business, where electricity access is set to be enhanced in 14 arid and semi-arid counties following the signing of a 10 billion shillings deal between Kenya Power, Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation and the World Bank to finance renewable energy projects. The agreement, which is part of the Kenya Off-Grid Solar Access Project, will involve construction of 113 mini solar grids over the next 12 months.
A mini solar grid is a small-scale electricity network that harnesses solar energy to power households and businesses. Considered a cost-effective solution, solar mini-grids are key in powering rural areas that are too remote for the national grid. Through the Kenya Off-Grid Solar Access Project, the government, in partnership with the World Bank, has launched a 10 billion shillings initiative that targets to power 1.2 million people in the northern eastern region.
And we will continue in developing this country equitably. Every part of Kenya is as important as the other part of Kenya.
We are setting on a journey to light up a huge landmass of the Republic of Kenya.
72% of the land size of Kenya, through the inking of the pen today, is going to see remarkable progress.
Electricity has become an essential part of our lives.
Additionally, diesel-powered stations are being hybridized with solar PV systems, with plans underway to install an extra 8 megawatts of solar power in Wajir County. The counties of Turkana, Marsabit, Samburu, Isiolo, Mandera, Wajir, Garissa, Tana River, Lamu, Kilifi, Kwale and Narok County will further benefit from standalone solar systems at a cost of 438 million shillings, ensuring public facilities and schools have access to electricity.
With electricity in schools, our children will benefit from longer study hours, better learning environment, and greater opportunities to excel. With power in homes and businesses, we will unlock new economic opportunities.
Moreover, 316 solar-powered water pumps for boreholes valued at 1.6 billion shillings are in the final stages of procurement.
Kenya has made great strides in access to electricity from 15% in 2013 to 75% and hopes to achieve 100% transition to clean energy by 2030. However, this great progress has not been uniform, as some vast rural counties have been left in darkness, hence the rollout of this project.
Thank you, Wairimu Njenga, for that report. And that report by Wairimu Njenga brings us to the end of the bulletin this morning. And among the news that we're bringing you this today is that our reporters will be following up for you stories, including Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja visit to the City Park Market for the inspection of a solar-powered cold room, which is expected to serve about 162 traders daily, and Ketraco and the Public-Private Partnership Committee to hold a meeting focusing on public-private partnerships and privately initiated proposals, that is PIPs, in the energy sector. Of course, politics, business and sports will be among the news that will be served for you in our subsequent bulletins. My name is Mariambo, and I'm just about to give room to my colleague Mike Megwi to bring you the Youth and Governance segment.